Hey guys, Predzilla here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I will be breaking down the Godzilla vs. Kong trailer, but I do want to mention that this breakdown will be in two parts. This is part one. That is because if I tried to make the video into one video, it would be very long and I wouldn't be able to upload it at all because my iPad storage is pretty much at its max, so I have to make the video about 15 minutes long and then, make the video, the other video, however long that's going to be. I don't know how long this video is going to be. It might be only 10 minutes long. It might be 15. I don't know for sure, but that's just the way it's got to be. And also, I will not be including human scenes because it makes it much more easier for me, and also that would make the video even longer. So I physically can't include human scenes, but I will be mentioning human-related things, and I also will include what important things humans say, but I just won't be talking about human scenes in general. But starting off, the first scene that we have is we have a random explosion in a city. We have no idea what causes. Well, we now have an idea of what causes this explosion, but it's confusing to what is causing this explosion because we don't see any monsters here, and also we don't know which city this is. I've heard that this might be Hong Kong, but I cannot confirm nor deny that it is the case because I have no clue. But we do already know who is the one who causes this explosion, because in the next scene we have is civilians running down a staircase into a subway for safety, and as we can see in the corner, we have none other than Mechagodzilla that we see for a brief moment. This is something that is you have to really pay close attention to see, and yeah, this is obviously Mechagodzilla. From what we know about this Mechagodzilla has rectangular shaped dorsal fins. This is obviously what we see. This Mechagodzilla has, red that is throughout the body. This is obviously what we see. We do see red glowing parts on this, whatever this is. So this is obviously, it has to be Mechagodzilla, but if this isn't Mechagodzilla, we do see Mechagodzilla later in the trailer. But in the next shot we have is of Kong on the aircraft carrier, but from this shot we have is a kind of like a human perspective, because it is from a helicopter and we can see one of the characters here, and then we cut to a shot of Kong's hand brushing the water, which looks really nice. The CGI looks great here. A lot of detail in here. We can see the dirt and Kong's hands and fingernails and all that kind of stuff. Looks fantastic. And then we have another shot of Kong knocked out, all up in chains on the aircraft carrier. But it does seem that this aircraft carrier that Kong is on is much more smaller than the aircraft carrier where the fight takes place. And I have an idea of what actually happens to where the fight is going to take place, but I'll talk about that more later in the trailer, or in the video. And then we have another shot of Kong on the aircraft carrier, still in chains, but this time he is awake and he is calm. He is very calm, and I think there's a reason why he is calm. It might be that they're possibly injecting him with something that makes him calm, but also might be a certain character that we'll be talking about here in a second. But I also want to talk about why are they taking Kong. We can assume that this is Monarch taking Kong. I believe that this is Monarch, but it doesn't confirm that this is Monarch. But they, from what we know, there's there was a plot summary or something like that came out also yesterday for Godzilla vs. Kong that says that Monarch was taking Kong to the Hollow Earth, which is interesting. But also they could be taking Kong to fight Godzilla, because Godzilla is obviously destroying cities. So maybe this is they want Kong to stop Godzilla, because no one else is going to be able to fight Godzilla besides Kong, because obviously since we here in the trailer, Kong bows to no one. And all the other Titans, bow to Godzilla, so they obviously wouldn't fight Godzilla. And then it reveals that Kong has a connection with an orphan Iwi girl named Jaya. And it's also interesting to know why she's lost and is alone. It seems that maybe something happened to the Iwis, possibly in the prequel comic that is upcoming. Maybe Kamazats kills all the Iwis, and this is the last Iwi left. That could be the case, or possibly when Ghidorah does his call and wakes up all the scroll crawlers and all that kind of stuff, maybe the scroll crawlers end up killing all the Iwis, and Kong is not happy about that. So he's made it his personal mission to protect this last Iwi. And it does seem that Jaya and Kong can communicate, and from what we know, this actress is actually deaf, so she obviously uses sign language. So that would be really interesting to see Kong and Jaya using sign language to communicate with each other. Hopefully they have subtitles so we can understand what they're saying. But it'll be interesting to see Kong doing sign language so we can kind of understand what he's saying, because we obviously don't know how the monsters think and all that kind of stuff, and what they're thinking and all that kind of stuff. But this would be I feel like Kong would I think it'd be cool if Kong did not full sentences, hey, how you doing? Maybe I don't know. I'm not sure how you explain it. But kind of a primitive kind of language, you doing good, or I don't know, something like that. I think it'd be interesting to see if they, include Kong actually doing sign language, or maybe Kong won't do sign language at all. Maybe it'll just be the Jaya just sign languaging the Kong, and Kong obviously being able to understand it. But we'll just have to see what happens in the movie to know for sure. But in the next shot, we have finally a shot of Godzilla, and Godzilla is coming for Kong, and we have Godzilla's dorsal fins coming out of the water, and then it just Godzilla just slices right through a naval ship, which is unlike Godzilla's behavior that we've seen in the MonsterVerse. Because even in 2014, when Godzilla was heading towards a naval ship, he actually went under it instead of just straight through it. But this is obviously different, and Godzilla is behaving different. And then jets start shooting at Godzilla and Godzilla's dorsal fins, which I don't think really do anything to Godzilla. It might irritate him, but I don't think it actually hurts him. And then Godzilla attacks these jets with his tail, which looks odd, but it's whatever. And I want to mention that this shot looks a lot like a scene from Shin Godzilla, and I'm obviously not the only person to notice this comparison, but it does look a lot like a scene from Shin Godzilla. And then we have a shot of Kong looking very concerned. I think this shot takes place in the scene where Godzilla is shooting his atomic breath towards Kong underwater, about where this is happening. That we'll see later in the trailer when that happens. But I think this is when that's happening, because in the next scene we have is of Kong, but he's in chains. So obviously this is about the beginning of the fight when he's in chains, and he's looking over the aircraft carrier, and then he pounds the aircraft carrier and roars, and then Godzilla comes out of nowhere and sneak attack Kong. But Kong might have known Godzilla was swimming straight towards him, but we don't it's not implied that Kong knew that Godzilla was coming straight towards him. We just knew that Kong knew Godzilla was there, but he didn't know that Godzilla was about to freaking come out of nowhere. I bet that might have scared the shit out of him. And it would have me if I was just sitting there where are you at, and then boom, out of nowhere. But the ocean is pretty clear, so that he might have seen Godzilla coming. And then we have the shot of Godzilla climbing onto the aircraft carrier, but this is much more extended from what we've seen before. I like the music that they used for this. I really like the music that they used. I know a lot of people didn't like the music, the hip hop music that they used, but I really did. But that's just me. And then we have an overhead shot of Godzilla and showing the scale of Godzilla, which looks really nice. And then it pans over the Kong gearing up to punch Godzilla in the face, which is obviously what he does. And we get an extended scene of Kong punching Godzilla in the face from what we've seen before. And you can see, if you pay attention, that Godzilla actually bleeds from this, because, there's one image that I have that you can actually see blood coming out of Godzilla's mouth. And this also happens later in the trailer when Kong is fighting Godzilla, but that'll be more of a discussion in part 2. So, a nice detail that this actually hurt Godzilla, other than, from what I thought, that this didn't affect Godzilla at all. I thought this would be this would be nothing to Godzilla, but obviously not. And I feel like Kong used his full force here, because you can see Kong kind of stumble after he punches Godzilla. And then Kong, pushes Godzilla off the aircraft carrier. I think this is, Kong might not wanting the ship, the freaking sink. Because I would imagine if both of them were on the aircraft carrier for a long enough time, the aircraft carrier would sink, and Kong would be at a very, very high disadvantage if the fight ended up taking place in the ocean. So I think Kong knows this, so he's like, just get away from me. You do your own thing. We're not fighting on the aircraft carrier, all right? But I am interested to know how this fight is going to end, which we'll talk about more later in the video. But we have a shot of ships, shooting missiles or bombs or whatever underwater at Godzilla, but we don't see them going off, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there. And then we have a shot of Godzilla going under the aircraft carrier that Kong is on and shooting his atomic breath at Kong underwater. I think this is the scene where Kong is, looking concerned. He breaks out of the chains, and then, he's looking around for Godzilla, something might else happen, and then Godzilla's under the water, and then he shoots, and then Kong notices that something's going on, so he jumps off, and then we get the scene of the atomic breath going through the aircraft carrier. And then I think what happens here is either Kong escapes the attack by jumping into the water or jumping onto another aircraft carrier, because in the shot where we can see the atomic breath going all the way up into the sky, the aircraft carrier that is next to the aircraft carrier that Godzilla just destroyed looks much more bigger. So I think that's the aircraft carrier that Kong ends up getting onto, either swimming to it and climbing onto it, or jumping onto it from aircraft carrier to aircraft carrier. Because that one, I think, is where Godzilla climbs onto, and then that's when they're going to start fighting each other there. I might be wrong, but that's just what I'm thinking. And then we have a shot of Godzilla in his, dorsal fins sticking out of the water, and he's kind of swimming away or something like that, and looking menacing. This shot might not be at the end of the fight. It might just make it look like it's the end of the fight. Because that's what trailers do. They like the switch scenes around to make it seem like it's not the thing, and that's it's happening, but it's not the thing that's happening, and they make it confusing. But some things are obviously because like the Kong looking concerned. Because it made it look like he was, concerned about Godzilla coming, but obviously that was different from what we've seen, because Kong isn't in chains in that scene. So they like to switch scenes around. It makes it confusing. So this might not actually be at the end of the fight. This might be like when Godzilla is, just arriving in. He's just destroyed the first ship with his dorsal fins. So that might be that. But I am very curious to know how this fight ends. Like, does Kong, how does Kong escape? I've heard that he might, find a hole into the Hollow Earth or something like that. So that might be something he does. He might escape through the Hollow Earth. I don't know. I'm very, wondering, what's going to happen here. I'm very interested to know. And the mystery with, what's going on is what's really making me want to watch this movie even more. Obviously, I was going to watch the movie before because it's Godzilla vs. Kong. But with all this mystery and wanting to know what's going to happen and, wanting to figure out what's going on, it's what's really, really making me want to watch this movie. But, unfortunately, that is it for part 1. Hey, my iPad decided to crash. That's always great. Am I right? Anyways, where I left off is, basically at the end of the video, where I was just going to say, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time for part 2. Bye.